Okay, back to Carentan West Front. This is PanzerBlitz, Carentan, from Operations Wargame Journal, number 2, labeled Special Edition Summer 2009 from MMP. So, in this Operations Journal, you get with or for PanzerBlitz, you get you get PanzerBlitz Hill of Death Errata, but I already had that pulled from the internet, but you have that in here. You have PanzerBlitz Hill of Death questions and answers. You get some Carentan situations for PanzerBlitz, and you get a map and some counters, primarily German airborne infantry and American airborne infantry. So that's what we're playing. We are playing one of the Carentan situations, specifically Car 2. Title is Causeway Attack. So this is basically the U.S. airborne expansion for this PanzerBlitz Hill of Death or PanzerBlitz 2. I guess the only thing to say by way of introduction is that I never played, never owned, never actually had any interest in the original PanzerBlitz. So this PanzerBlitz Hill of Death or PanzerBlitz 2 to me is its own game as far as I'm concerned. So that's the game. The base game we're playing. This again is the Carentan map that comes in the Operations magazine. There we have some German airborne infantry and 88mm flak 36s, the 88s, 2 of them, and some airborne infantry and some support weapons. By the situation, the Germans get 2 improved positions there. So I have put a kind of a strong point in this woods, put a strong point in this woods, and a strong point here in the open, but to cover this this area. So we're playing with about a half map. Actually, it looks more like a no, it's a half map. We're playing with about a half map here, but the Carentan map itself is smaller than usual. What is this like? This is like half of a full-size map sheet. So we're playing with a quarter of a full-size map sheet about. Basically, you have the village of Carentan here. We have some canals in here. We have some high ground here, some railroads, and the marsh, but the marsh is mainly behind the Americans. That's it. Here's our situation sheet. Here's the half map we're playing on. So this is the Carentan map. We're playing with the, I guess it would be, no, it's not the southern, it's the western half of the map, because north is that way. So we're playing with the western half of the Carentan map. 7-turn situation, orders of battle, just a few special rules. Bridges cannot be destroyed, streams are considered deep, and road movement is non-applicable. So by way of setting, there's the starting situation. Germans basically in 2 echelons, strong points, and then a deployment on the edge of the village. The American paratroopers are coming along this road south towards Carentan. The introductory text for the scenario. Situation Car 2, Causeway attack. Carentan, 11 June 1944. The 101st Airborne. Let's see what. They don't give us a. This might be the 50 Deuce. All right, the 101st Airborne planned an attack southward across the Duvet River, bypassing the town of Carentan and seizing La Illinois Hill 30. Oh, I think that's the high ground. I think that's the high ground I was pointing at earlier. Thereby cutting off the primary German escape routes. The 50 Deuce Parachute Infantry Regiment, 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment, was selected to lead the attack but was delayed due to repair work on bridge number 2. When they finally jumped off, they found bridge number 4 blocked by a heavy Belgian gate that could not be dislodged. This further delayed the attack until enough troops could get through the obstacle, one at a time. At 06:15, on June 11th, the 502nd jumped off but immediately ran into fierce German resistance. Reinforcements were slow in passing through the still intact gate on bridge number 4. The paratroopers managed to seize a vital farm astride the main road to Carentan, as well as some local crossroads. The troops fought tenaciously with grenade and bayonet to hold the secured ground, with American artillery playing a critical role in breaking the German defenses. At 2000 hours, patrols discovered that the Germans had fled most of their defensive positions and the town. After a hard day of fighting, the 502nd was beaten and tired. The 506th had to be called in to make the final push to take the town of Carentan. So victory. Americans must control 3 of the 5 victory hexes to win. The victory hexes are, let's see, 22, 21, 22, 21. That's 22, 21. 2118. 2118. Same hex as my middle strong point. 1917, right here. 1917. And 1919, right here at the edge of the town. And 1815. Oh, 1815 is this bridge up here. Bridge right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold 3 of those positions. Okay. 7 turns. Americans will receive reinforcements on turns 1, 2, and 3. And let's get started. We have our opaque cup. We put our op chits in the cup. These op chits, the chit pool is given on the situation card. So, for example, the American Order of Battle chit pool, you get 3 times op 0. So that would be like this one right here. So you take 3 of these, and 3 times op 1, like that. 3 op 1 chits. And the same, or similarly for the Germans get 3 op 0, 2 op 1 chits. Those are all put together in an opaque cup. And this is my second play session of this, so I only have the very bare basics down. we have the bare basics down. So game turn. An operation is the draw and play of one of those chits. Players randomly pull operation chits from a pool composed of chits belonging to both players. So let's just draw the first one. Who goes first? The Germans will go first with an op 1. The owning player then conducts operations as detailed. The chit pool is an any opaque container. Sequence of play. Pre-ops segment. At the beginning of each turn, players assemble their operations chits. That's what we did as per the situation instructions and combine them in a chit pool. Also include in the chit pool any, oops, I was supposed to include a reinforcements chit for the Americans because they have reinforcements listed on the situation card for this turn. I also need to put that in there. So I guess technically I'll start over here just in case. Yeah, also include the chit in the chit pool any reinforcements chits for that turn. Additional ops chits just entering the game per the turn record track on the situation card. And air support chits. No air support chits for this situation. Place no move counters. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Try this again. Random draw is still German op 1. Okay, so we have here chit pull segment. We're going to repeat the play of these chits, or the draw and play of the chits, but nothing will happen with the last chit drawn. Don't have air support chits. Okay, so the player who owns the chit declares the operations area according to the radius number on the chit. So what we do here is the Germans can decide, and they can open fire if they want. I think we've got some long range fire here. Ooh, we got a support weapon there. So for example, we would place this is an example. If the German player placed his op 1 chit here, all units in that hex and the adjacent hex, that's the op 1, it's a radius of 1 hex, can be activated to do something. Oh wait, I think I determined before that units all units with a chit within a chit's radius do not need to perform the same action. Each may perform different action types or no action. After conducting operations, mark units with a spent or spent disrupted marker per the specific operation performed. At the conclusion of the operation, remove this operation chit and set it aside. Now I can't remember whether units are... No, I don't think units are, just because they're within that radius, they're automatically spent even if they do nothing. I think if they do nothing, they're not spent and available to act at other times. So this would be just an example. What I really just want to do is I want to open up fire with the as a matter of fact, so in this hex here I have a German airborne infantry platoon and a machine gun unit. I'm going to leave the airborne infantry alone so that he can do some opportunity fire, but the machine gun's going to open up. Again, not good tactics. Tactics wise I would probably pass and do nothing, but I want to show some mechanics right away. So I'm going to open up with the machine gun and save the airborne infantry platoon for later. So what we have here is right away we have some so let's review our piece there. So starting up here in the top left, the black 6 is the AT attack value, anti-tank attack value. The 8 red, the red 8 is the AP or anti-personnel attack value. The 2 vertical lines is the stacking value, which is a little strange. I would have made them horizontal lines, but they're vertical here. So this is 2 stacking points. The range is 3. Name over here. Make sure I get this right. Make sure I get this right. I think the blue stripe behind the name means that it can shoot anti-air, I think. The red 4 down on the lower left is the AP defense strength or defense value 4. And the 1 in the circle with no background is the movement allowance, and the white circle, well, what they call a clear circle, because there's no color inside the white, outside of the circle, is a leg movement class. Okay, so so they're going to fire on the stack here. It's 2 hexes away, which is within his normal range of 3. So no difference there. So we'll go to our actions. So looking under we did our chit pull. Now we're in our operations section of the chit pull segment. So each operations chit initiates what is essentially a mini-turn. The phasing player, the player who owns the chit, designates a hex as the activation hex. We already did that. There. The operations chit just drawn is placed in that hex to serve as a reminder. Any units that are within the effective radius of the ops chit and not currently marked spent become active and may conduct one of the following operations. You can request artillery, marked no move, perform direct fire or indirect fire, move, assault fire, overrun capable units overrun, infantry may use close assault tactics, perform PanzerBlitz assault, and then attempt to recover from disruption. These are performed in this sequence. Something to pay attention to. I didn't catch that the first time through. Okay, so they are going to fire at section 7. Okay, combat and direct fire. There are several types of combat in the game. This is anti-personnel direct fire. General procedures. The phasing player declares and indicates which units will fire. The machine gun unit. Which target? Oh. Okay. Right away, target selection. Non-armored units. The attacker may choose any combination of non-armored units in the defending hex as a target. Any units within that hex that are not selected are not affected by the DF combat results. Oh, interesting. So, I think what this is saying, I didn't catch this before either, there are 2 airborne infantry, there's an airborne infantry and an engineer platoon in that hex. I can choose to fire just at the engineer, I can choose to fire just at the airborne infantry, or I can choose to fire at both. That is really interesting because just that ability to select. So the engineers are, by the rules anyways, seems like the engineers are going to draw more fire than otherwise. Except, that The engineers are only 1 combat factor stronger against tanks, and the Germans don't have any tanks in this situation, so actually there is no difference. As a matter of fact, they're slower than the airborne infantry. But both the airborne infantry and the engineers have 8 combat value against personnel targets. Interesting. So in this case, and they're in the clear. Well, that's interesting. The machine gun has an 8. So the German machine gun unit isn't any more lethal than the airborne infantry. They just have a longer range. Huh. And I might as well use my range advantage. But direct fire is going to be ratio. So it's 8 to 5, which is 1 to 1. Or if the machine gun wants to fire at both of the American platoons together, I think they have a combined defense of 10. Okay. The attacker sums up the values of all attacking units with a clear line of sight to determine the final attack strength. So that's just the 8 of the machine gun platoon. The defender sums up the defense values of all defending units to determine the final defense strength. So it is American Engineer 5 plus American Airborne Infantry 5 for a total defense of 10. Final attack strength divided by the final defense strength is the combat odds ratio, round in favor of defender. So if the German machine gun fires at either one of the American targets, it gets it's 1 to 1, or it's 1 to 2 against both targets. They are in the open. All right, I shouldn't be thinking this hard about it. Okay, the machine gun's going to fire at both of them. So we'll go to 1 to 2 column. 2d6, 1 to 2 column, direct fire dice roll modifiers. Town, city, IP hull down does not count. Fortification, woods, orchard, swamp, beach, unspotted, disrupted does not count. Indirect fire versus infantry does not count. Using road rate does not count. Road rate. Smoke, direct fire only, does not apply. In wreck locations does not apply. Height advantage, height disadvantage does not apply. Overrun does not apply. Opportunity fire does not apply. So actually nothing applies. It's just flat 1 to 2. Need a very low roll. Germans roll a very average 7. 7 on 1 to 2 is, yeah, nothing. So would have been just barely nothing on the 1 to 1 column as well. So okay, so all right, so the machine gun on the bottom, mark them as spent. Like that. Leave the airborne infantry on top because they can still act and they're still under the improved position. That is it. Okay, I set aside the ops marker. Now, there are going to be numerous things that I missed because I jumped right in. First of all, I think that it is, I think I want to, where is it? spotting conditions. A unit is always considered spotted unless marked with an unspotted marker. Spotted status at the end of the current. So I think we're supposed to determine spotting status. Stacking unit status markers, unspotted. Alright, an enemy unit is considered spotted if either of the following criteria is met. A non-disrupted combat unit is adjacent to the enemy unit regardless of the terrain. Exception, units in gully stream. A non-disrupted combat unit has a valid line of sight to the enemy unit, and one or more of the following conditions are met. The enemy unit is in a city, town, woods, or swamp hex within 3 hexes of the combat unit, possessing line of sight. Alright, I think that means that all of these Germans back here are unspotted, I think. I think that's what it means. Because there is no non-disrupted combat unit with a valid line of sight within 3 hexes. Yeah. So I think that is what that means. That that'll be this one too, actually. There's no undisrupted American unit within 3 hexes of those guys either, and they're in the woods. Unspotted. 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 The Americans, I don't think. There's swamp. Swamp is the same thing, so Americans are unspotted. I think they're on a swamp. They're unspotted and unspotted. Okay. So I think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They can all see each other. Oops. So they can see each other, but they're in the swamps. They cannot be seen within 3 hexes. And all these Germans are in woods or town. So, all right. All right. So that was the first operation. So the ops marker is just set aside, is basically used. Draw the next one randomly. It's a German 0. 0 means the same hex that this is going to be placed on. Now they might pass. All right, just the Germans will pass. So set that one aside. Okay. The player who owns the chit declares the operations area according to the radius number by placing the chit on any hex in the play area, thereby becoming the phasing player, or they may pass performing no action. In either case, the chit is not returned to the chit pool but set aside with the other used chits. Okay? So Germans pass and the op 0 marker set aside. Next we have German op 0. Pass again. Wait a minute. Ah! Ooh. I should have... Alright, that was a mistake. I should have fired my 88s. Alright. Alright, the Americans draw an op 1. Alright. Just place it there and get moving out of the open. Whoops. Put it on the front line. American units there. Now we're going to get some. Let's go. These infantry are fairly slow. The infantry, the airborne infantry has a movement allowance of 2. Engineers have movement allowance of 1. They're not going very far. Train effects chart. Train effects chart has an infantry column. So the first thing we're going to do is, again, not necessarily good tactics, but this airborne infantry unit is going to go 1 here. Now the question is opportunity fire. No, I don't think there's an opportunity now. 1 and then 2. I think the moment they come here, the moment that happens, I think the unspotted marker's removed. I think that's how it is because they now a target's spotting status is always determined at the time an action is taken against it, be it an attack, targeting for overrun, etc. For indirect fire, the action is when the fire is resolved, not when the AR is placed. Do you consider moving against it an action against it? Alright, well, I'll assume that that's what's meant. An enemy unit is considered spotted if either of the following criteria is met. A non-disrupted combat unit is adjacent. Okay. A non-disrupted combat unit has valid line of sight. He has valid line of sight to the woods there. To the enemy unit, and one or more of the following conditions are met. A. The enemy unit is in a city, town, woods, or swamp hex within 3 hexes of the combat unit possessing loss. I guess that's what's meant. So so then he moves 1 more. Now 1 unit. Okay, so now one of the airborne units is going to do opportunity fire against the American airborne infantry in the clear there, 2 hexes away. These are, by the way, 250. These are 250-yard hexes, 15-minute turns. So that would explain why the German airborne infantry platoon has a regular range of 1 hex. That's 250 yards. This is long range, so he can fire out to twice that range, or out to 2 hexes with half of his firepower. So the 8 is going to be halved to 4. 4 against 5 in the open. We have some modifiers though, I think, because this is opportunity fire. As a matter of fact, I might as well just check. Review opportunity fire. So movement, details of movement. Units move one at a time. During a unit's move, the opponent, that's nice, units move one at a time, exception, transport, and passenger, that's kind of obvious. Tracing a path of movement through adjacent hexes, expending movement points as they move. The player must complete the movement of one unit before beginning the movement of another. Once the player has started moving the next unit, the moves of an already moved units may not be adjusted. During a unit's move, the opponent may declare an opportunity fire attack against the moving unit. Once an opportunity fire attack has been declared, the moving unit must stop and the moving player may not change or otherwise adjust the movement of the unit. After resolution of the opportunity fire attack, the unit may continue moving if it is not disrupted and has movement allowance remaining. So opportunity fire 7.8. Opportunity fire differs from direct fire in that it takes place only while phasing player's units are moving. The non-phasing player stops the phasing player during any point of the unit's movement. The attack is resolved. Opportunity fire modifiers. Opportunity fire versus a unit using road movement bonus will not apply to this scenario. Opportunity fire versus a moving vehicle will not apply to this scenario. Opportunity fire versus infantry in the open receives a -1 die roll modifier. That's what we have here. So the German airborne infantry is conducting opportunity fire against the moving American airborne infantry. It's long range, so his combat value of 8 is halved to 4, but he has a -1 die roll modifier already because the moving unit is infantry in the open. The odds are still 4 to 5 or 1 to 2. So any other direct fire dice roll modifiers apply? I don't think so. No. Only the opportunity fire versus infantry in the open. -1 die roll modifier. So the Germans roll. They roll boxcars. We even have natural roll results. This is always a no effect. So, wow. Alright, so that unit is marked as spent for having conducted opportunity fire. And the moving American unit is marked spent because he's done with his movement. Now we go back to the rest of the American activated formation there. The engineers will move woods. Engineers will move into the woods here. Now, since 1-to-1, what is woods? +1 for woods. Let's see. I don't think these 88s are moving this entire scenario. The German 88 here is going to hold its fire. Let the engineers move into the woods there. Alright. In the center here, the engineer is going to move one forward. One. The German airborne infantry Fallschirmjäger will conduct opportunity fire in the adjacent hex. It's still just 8 to 5, so it's 1 to 1. But it's moving infantry. It's opportunity fire against moving infantry in the open, so that's -1. I think that's it. That is it. Oh wow! War games. Second boxcars in a row. I don't even know what to say. If it can happen, it will happen at some point. Alright, so put those guys back, but there's more action going on now. So that engineer is spent because he only has one. He only has one movement point. He is moving along a road, but that is a road, but road movement is NA in this scenario, so it doesn't matter. So the engineers are spent. The airborne infantry. So the airborne infantry is moving forward. So now, now the 8. Oh, I should remember this. There is a range modifier. I'm only doing direct fire dice roll modifiers. There is a range modifier, basically a range attenuation. I should have been paying attention to that. Yeah, I definitely should have been paying attention. Well, actually, I rolled 2 boxcars in a row. Those are automatic results, but I do need to remember range modifiers. There is a kind of general table here for direct fire, overrun, cat, and AA fire. You have ranges in hexes and a die roll modifier. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. +1. Should have been paying better attention to that. Which one do I respond with? I'll try. Alright, so the German 88 here is going to open up fire right across this flank here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has a AP attack value of 6 at a range of 17. No problem there, so it's normal range. 6 against 5. American Airborne Infantry is 1 to 1. It's -1 for infantry moving in the open. Opportunity fire versus infantry in the open, but it's +1 for range 4 to 6 hexes. So the +1 for range is cancelled by the -1 for opportunity fire versus infantry in the open. I don't see any reason why the 88 cannot conduct opportunity fire. So see if there are any limitations. No, I don't see any limitations. So 1-to-1. Yep, I think it's just even. No, close to a third boxcars. 11. No effect. Wow, the Germans are. So I think he becomes spotted now because. Oh, I think he's spotted now because he is underneath. I think the condition now is that he's underneath a spent marker. So the wording is an enemy user considered spotted. A non-disrupted combat unit, that would be the airborne infantry there, has a valid line of sight to the enemy unit, and one or more following conditions are met. The enemy unit is marked with a spent, disrupted, or spent disrupted marker. Yeah, I think that's how that works. Back to the airborne infantry here, they only moved 1 hex. Let me see if they have enough remaining to do a cat. How does that work? Overrun cat. Cat attacks represent infantry-only attacks at close quarters in which they attempt to overwhelm an enemy position. This often includes hand-to-hand combat. The general procedures are as follows. Units move 1 hex at a time per normal movement rules. Upon completion of each unit's movement, if that unit is participating in a cat attack, the player must declare their intent and mark the unit with a cat marker. All attack units must be adjacent, having expended 1 or less movement points. Well, that's okay. He just expended 1 to move here. Units in improved position. Oh, they are in improvement. Oh no, that's to do a cat attack from an improved position. Okay. Okay, so I think that even though the terrain effects chart say 1 for a cat, I don't think that in any way counters the rule statement. All attacking units must be adjacent to the defending hex, having expended 1 or less movement points. He has 1 remaining. That's 1 to conduct the cat. I guess that's how that works. Yeah, I assume that's how it works. So let's do a cat. So I think I would mark him. Mark that unit with a cat marker in this way there. I think I mark the unit like that, showing that he's conducting a cat. And then going in order of the sequence of play, that was moving. Oh, I need to remember to do all this stuff. Well, I guess that was all movement. You got to remember to do these things in order. I think I do all, for this operation, I do all artillery requests, I do all fire, then I do all movements, then overruns, then assault fire, then cat, blah, 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 in order. So anyway, but these guys only moved. It was a move, it was a move, and it was a move. So I've marked my cat. Now I go to cat resolution. Okay, 9-0. Okay, I think after resolution of any reaction fire, the attacker may then select, okay, so I think that even though, so now I'm going to jump over to reaction fire. Where's reaction fire? Where is reaction fire? Reaction fire. Where's reaction fire? Opportunity for reaction fire. All units in the target hex have an overrun or closest all tactics cat may perform a single reaction fire versus attacking units in 1 hex immediately prior to the overrun or cat attack being conducted, regardless of status. So I think that even though these 2 units are spent, they still get to do a reaction fire. It's just at half strength. Infantry AT values are halved. That doesn't apply here. If the reacting firing unit is spent or disrupted, so all units may conduct, so they can do it together. They're both doing reaction fire. It's just halved. Is spent or disrupted, their attack strength is halved. Yep, there we go. Range is considered to be 1. Units, is that right? Yes. Yeah. So I think it's just a normal direct fire. It's resolved as a normal direct fire attack with half the fire value. So it's 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. It's 8 against 5, which is 1 to 1. Range modifier is -1. So that's -1, and then I don't think anything else, nothing else applies. So I think it's just 1 to 1 -1 for range. There we go. Finally, out of 4, -1 is 3 on 1 to 1. Okay. Now we've got. I think this is going to cancel the cat anyways. This is a DD result. Yes, it's a DD result. That says any defenders that were already disrupted before the attack suffer a step loss. All defenders suffer disruption and are marked with a spent disrupted marker. So what is... So I think I take cat markers coming off because it's not going to carry through because they're disrupted. What is disrupted? Suffer disruption and are marked with a spent disrupted marker. So here's a spent disrupted marker. But what does it mean suffer disruption? See if there's a separate so what is suffering disruption? Spent disrupted. I think it just means it has the spent disrupted marker put on it. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But it broke up the attack. So I think that's it. And then remove the ops marker. Draw another Chit, German op 2. Okay. Now again, non-target selection. The following details which units may or must be attacked in combat. Non-armored units. The attacker may choose any combination of non-armored units in the defending hex as a target or targets. Exceptions: fortifications, defenders occupying woods or towns and cities. Any, oh, that's what it means under the, okay. Underneath the rules section where it describes each type of terrain, there's a subsection under each type of terrain that says target selection. So towns and cities, target selection. Attacking units must select a single target type. If an armored type unit is chosen, then only one armored unit can be attacked. If a non-armored unit is chosen, then all non-armored units in the hex must be attacked as one target. Okay. Which I guess is better for a larger unit, I guess. Roads, target selection, no effect. Woods, target selection. If the target is an armored type unit, then only one armored unit can be attacked. When attacking non-armored targets, all non-armored units must be attacked as one unit. Swamp, no effect. Gully, streams, and rivers. No effect. Bridges and forts, no effect. Lakes, oceans, beaches, no effect. Slopes, no effect. And orchards, no effect. Okay. All right. So the... Did I just draw a 0? I forgot to place it, didn't I? So I'm going to place it here in this hex. The hex right here. These two units together are going to fire at the spent disrupted airborne infantry platoon. It's 2 away, so their fires are halved, so it's 8. 8 against 5 is 1 to 1. Range modifier is 0. So no range modifier. I think that's it. Yeah. So I think it's just 1 to 1. 5 might be good enough for something. 5 for a 1 to 1 is a D. So now so it's already spent disrupted. So we got to figure out. Defender is disrupted. Place a spent disrupted marker on top of the defending units. Oh, so that means there's no. Oh, that means there is no compound effect here, I guess. That's too bad. That's what I'm reading here, anyways. Yeah. To get the compound effect, you need a DD result. Huh. Okay. There's not. It doesn't seem to be runaway lethality in this game, which is good. Interesting. Okay, so at the end of that, a hot bow and they're marked spent. Interesting. American Op 1. Huh. I don't think I can wait. So play it here. So I think they're going to become spotted because they're, first of all, they're going to leave the marsh, and they're also going to be under a spent marker. So these airborne infantry, well, I have to move one at a time. I like that. So I'm going to go 1. Oh heck. Germans are going to opportunity fire with the 88 here. It's going to lose its unspotted status. So the 88's right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexes straight through the open. It's 6 combat factor against 5 defense factor. That's 1 to 1. Range is +1. Die roll modifier for range is +1. -1 for opportunity fire versus infantry in the open. So that's even. I think that's it. Yeah, even 1 to 1. 6. I think that's a disrupted. Might be yep, as a disrupted. So, oh. Yeah, spent disrupted, yeah. So spent disrupted, I again guess that means he isn't moving anymore either. The 88 gets marked. Like that. I guess that's it. And then the next airborne infantry moves 1 and then 2 into the woods. And then it's the mortars. They're just going to move 1 hex like that. And they are they're spent. All right, into the op. American op 0. They have nobody left, so they have to pass. Ooh, op 0 pass, and that. Oh, oops. They're quite a bit more. These are their German op 1. German op 1. Actually, going to go like that, and I guess they're going to 1 into the woods. Americans can't do anything. 2nd into the woods. Can't do anything. They are spent. Into the op. Op 1, they pass. Okay, so reinforce. I think that means the 1. This is the 1 reinforcement. According to the situation card here, turn 1, enter at hex 2516, 1 Chit. I assume that's the reinforcement Chit. I'm going to put the reinforcement Chit on the next turn because we have reinforcements next turn as well. 2516 is right here on the edge. I guess they just move. I think they just move on like that, and they're spent. Good enough, close enough. Now there's 1 marker left. This one is not acted on. It's a null marker, if you will. And so that is the sorry, that's the end of the operations or the chit pull segment. Okay, then we go to the administrative segment. All right, so perform the following steps in order. All spent disrupted markers are replaced with disrupted markers. So that would be, we have several. So spent disrupted replaced with a disrupted, like that. Spent disrupted, like that. I think those are all the spent disrupted markers. Remove all smoke 2 markers, flip any and all smoke 1 to their smoke 2 side. Remove all HE markers from previous turns AR resolution. All onboard artillery request markers are resolved. Players, next turn I got to remember the Americans have an artillery have 2 artillery requests. Opportunities. Players remove any spent markers from the board. Mark all eligible units with an unspotted marker. Okay, so this is, I'm not sure if that applies now, but well, no, it will. Spotted status. At the end of the current turn during the administrative segment, all unmarked, non-spent, non-disrupted, non-labor, etc. units in city, towns, woods, or swamp are marked with an unspotted marker if none of the conditions are met. So within 3 hexes. Okay, so these units, these American units are in the swamp. Oh, whoops, these German units are within 3 hexes, so never mind. But this one is unspotted because they're not German within 3 hexes. I guess these guys are still spotted from them. These guys are still spotted from them. But there's no American within 3 hexes of the flak 88s here. So I think they go back to unspotted like that. Oh wait, never mind. The woods are in the way there, and he is 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away. So actually, they are unspotted as well. Okay. There we go. And then we advance the turn marker to turn 2. And that is the end of turn 1 of Situation Car 2, Causeway Attack from PanzerBlitz Carentan.